The next two spaces and getting away from this very noisy corner. So, quick demo with this guy, thermal imaging. You should be able to see me in there, red, orange, and yellow guy. Yeah, so very easy, right? Wow, there's a lot of you here. So normally I make the joke, and this might actually work tonight. There's not too many fellas, but I'm the hottest thing inside the frame right now. That's why I point that out. Oh, yeah, sorry about that. You ought to see me with bridal parties. Like, it's a big hit. So with this guy, what we're looking for, and I make that joke on purpose so we know what we're actually looking for. We're looking for blue and black spots. So that's what we're looking for in this guy. Those are the coldest areas in there. Now, what are we looking for with those blue and black? There's always going to be blue and black. I'm looking for it to move or to take shape. When I say take shape, I'm looking for head, shoulders, moving arms and legs. So like literally cold people walking by us that shouldn't be there. You guys are getting the point of that, right? The cool thing about your video is that there's a blue dot that's bouncing around the screen. That blue dot is there to help guide your eye when you're watching your video, so that way you know where the coldest spot is in the frame at that particular moment. I am looking for 15 plus degree temperature drops. It keeps track of your ambient temperature, which tonight it's 58, so I'll be looking for 43 degrees and colder coming out of that guy. And it might not be a certain shape, but if I see 43 degrees and I know it's not a can or something smashed on the ground, it might actually be some kind of anomalous thing. Does this capture something every single night? Not necessarily, but if we don't use it, we won't capture it. Like, that's the way this goes, guys. So I'm going to actually stop this video. I can see it blinking, so you're good.
Anywhere specific?
You mentioned two settings. Should I just keep it on this one just for simplicity's sake, or does it matter?
You can go back and forth.
Which one? It's 2 over this one?
Yeah, so as long as it says MG next to it, right, you're good. Because the other ones say like VHM or something.
Okay, right.
Yeah, I want to stick to the Millennials because I don't know how to read the other one yet.
Right, and how far up did you say?
Yours is going to be 2.5 as a base. Up to 1.1 is natural from the earth. So again, all these little guys you're getting right now, that's just natural. So if you start going over 2.5, and she's already giving me a 17, we're going to see if you can get yours up that night. So
You want me to shout it out if it does?
I'll be bouncing around. Okay. So, all right. So she has a second to get those waves. So she has 3, 1, 16, Your device works up in the video. As long as an electromagnetic field spike, it's going to drop that cursor with the letter. That's how it's doing it. This is the sensitivity of how it's going to pick up those letters. There's a little dial right below the red dot. Don't touch it. Change it on anything going outside. So this one, I'm going to crank it all the way up while we're in here and use clockwise to turn it all the way up and feel it stop. If you're getting A, B, C, D, E, F, G, it's too high. So you want to take it and scale it back about a quarter turn until you can get it at a comfortable level. In any event, you get a full row of letters and you can't make anything out of it. You don't need me to verify that. You know, if you can't read or see any kind of, like right now I'm looking at, oh, woo-ha. I don't know what that means. So you get a bunch of letters that don't mean anything, just reset it. Turn this down and then go back up to 9 o'clock.
Okay, great.
It does other things, just so you know. Yes, no, obviously I can't. Numbers are good, but it doesn't save them in the bottom row, so that's what they say. And then the next one. Emojis. Everybody knows what emojis are. I think it's a super thing. I usually try to see the letters if you want to look at the number, but that's my number question. But you can try it, but it helps you hear it. Alright?
Thank you.
Great. Yes, you did.
I'm recording.
So is this what you two thought you signed up for?
Haha, we had no idea.
Oh,
We're always
nice.
up for a good adventure.
Oh, this is definitely an adventure.
Yeah, for sure.
Emma, what you got going on, anything?
It's wet right now.
Right here, I'm getting something.
Yeah. It's dark blue all around you here.
Yeah. There's a man talking on his board.
So what have you done?
All right, you got anything coming out of there? What are we hearing?
Right around in here. It's indistinct. I hear a man's voice and a woman's voice both come through.
Okay.
I can't tell what they're saying.
Okay. So with yours would be the only one that I would want that distinction of male or female. The other, I mean, because you may not. Yours picks up more disembodied voices than the others. So we've had them caught in real time. Definitely not radio stations. The only problem with yours is that it doesn't record, which is part of the reason why I gave you that one. So that way, if you're with Jules over here, that way the two of you can get the audio from her camera, because it does record audio.
Are you kidding?
I had a
Here it is.
22.4. I don't know if that's
Told you, 18 to 22.
22.4.
That's about the average.
It's in this area.
It's interesting that the ground shows up very dark blue in pools.
Well, this is made of a lot of different materials. So we have mud, gravel, dirt. You know, dirt's not going to be as cool as, say, mud, because mud's got water in it.
Right.
So, again, setting thermodynamics to make sure I'm getting accurate readings out of that guy. With this space, I'll be honest with you, you see how the walls are all pretty warm, because it's hanging onto the day's sunlight?
Yep.
I'm looking for cold spots along the walls. That's normally what I'm looking for in here.
Okay.
I've had literally 3 figures standing behind one of my groups, and we didn't catch it in real time. It was the next day. It was really cool. And they formed for us. They came up, and I had head, shoulders, and full body, and they were about the same size as the people around me.
34.5.
Nice. Your new base is going to be 25, so
Okay.
don't go below that. Wow. See if you can get anything. Holly, what do you got going on?
Eliza, what happened to the mansion? Eliza, what happened to the mansion?
Oh, it was a heartbreak. It was a heartbreak.
Eliza, what happened to the mansion?
If you look at the front, there's a blinking light when it's recording. So if you ever wonder about that, just ask me because I'll grab it in here. All right. So the reason, did we hear anything over there, Miss Lois?
There was a lot of chatter, and it was very loud.
Anything discernible?
No. It was a man's voice and a woman's voice.
Man and a woman's voice. So the only time I'll ask for a gender is on her spirit box. The rest of you, it doesn't matter what gender. The reason why is because hers will pick up more disembodied voices than the rest of them.
Yeah.
What were the last 3 words you had on yours? Okay, so we had a 96 milligal show up on our mel meter from Sherry, so let me kind of explain the EMF detection based on things around your house, so it'll make more sense. Anybody get anything crazy? I know you had, as we were leaving, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to put that on the pink site. Anybody else get anything? I know we, so your device will probably give us like the second green dot in this location. All the other EMF detectors, the base for this is going to be like the 5 to 7 because of the lamp posts. So I kind of expect the 5 to 7. You have the name John, that's more relevant as we were leaving. And then you had a 48 something?
As we were leaving, yeah. Just like in the parking lot adjacent, like
Yeah.
pretty much right.
I just heard Mark.
That's relevant to our next space.
Okay, well, he's like,
Again,
right
lead
where
over.
we are.
It's right across the street.
Okay.
So I expect a few things to come over.
They go hang out, stay with each other, we'll get more.
But it's close to the same
I
thing.
got a fish feet. I don't know if it was for this one.
It might be. I'm going to write it down anyway.
I have, I heard number 1, like those words, and then I heard 1 a different time.
Okay.
I heard greatest love, part 2 of today's lesson, Spanish and office. I'm much more efficient now that I can write.
We're just talking
We were
about
just
my
talking
office.
about your office, yeah.
Oh, I had them both in. I don't know what anybody's saying.
Well, the point is somebody's repeating. A ghost is basically letting us know that they're listening.
You're doing bad. I had them up so loud.
When did you hear the word Spanish?
I'm gonna do the time down, but hold on, I can tell you.
Was it on the way, like closer to here?
Closer to here? It was the second to last word I
So,
wrote before office.
I'm just going to tell you up front, the name Mark is relevant to our next space, and the word Spanish is because we're going to be talking about pirates at our next location. Obviously Spanish Isles, and there's a pirate named Mark that we're going to be discussing. So again, both of those terms are relevant to the next space. She was, or Mark was an English pirate. So again, I know I said she, I'm kind of giving away, like we're going to be talking about female pirates, but it's very interesting that you guys are hearing those things already. Oliver, what do you got going on in your word list? Anything crazy? Last 3 words. So the right scroll. There you go.
It's more, refer, and part.
You had part 2, right? It's weird. Whenever something comes up twice, I have to kind of pay attention to it. So it's kind of screaming at me to, hey, look at me kind of thing. Keep in mind this tour down the alleyway here is probably going to come up this way to exit because we're not allowed to go all the way through it. So what we do is we just kind of part the seas. I will stop telling my part of the history and let them go. Cameras you will definitely lower as they're passing by. So kind of keep that in mind.
Why can't we go all the way to it?
I'm going to explain that. I've actually been kicked out of here.
A
So
woman just said heart.
Heart. I'm going to explain how I got booted out of here because it's why we go discuss pirates next. And it's actually the fun part of the story. So let's kind of get into why we're here. This is Philadelphia Alley. Oh, you guys already know this one?
We know this one.
So you're going to get a little bit of different detail from me because you're ghost hunting. It's not a campfire and marshmallow tour. I'm not going to point at any other tours. You guys get my gist, right? So let's get into it. This used to be called Dueler's Alley. This is where some of the duels used to occur for the city of Charleston. We all talk about one duel specifically, but again, more details for me. So let's get into this one. There was a doctor that moves down here from Rhode Island. He moves down here because, well, first off, his name is Dr. Joseph Brown Ladd. If you Spirit Box people hear the song Brown Eyed Girl while we're here, it is not coincidence, it's part of his name. So, and I want the lyric Brown Eyed Girl. It happens all the time. But he moves down here because he's supposed to get married to his fiancée, Amanda. Amanda just inherited a bunch of money from her dead parents. Yes, that's my friend the rat in the bushes, just so you guys know. Probably see him crawling across here in a minute. We haven't named him Remy yet, but we probably should. So
Do we need to move
back to Amanda. What's it?
Are you serious with the rats?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, okay. And Nick, do you remember the other place I said I heard the word doctor?
I told you, all of this stuff is relevant to here.
Oh, that's
So is the
We
number
need to get out of
7,000.
their way.
Yep, we're going to move out of their way. Let's separate. You've heard Eliza?
Yes.
I'll explain that one in just a moment. Oh, you're good. How are you?
Wonderful.
I bet what it was Ralph was upset. Excuse us.
We got one right here, too. That's Remy. All right, so Lois heard the name Eliza. Why did she hear the name Eliza over here? Her husband is buried on the other side of this wall.
Oh, wow.
At St. Philip's.
It was a woman's voice
Yep.
before it was a man's voice.
But the interesting thing about that, I already told you that Eliza Lucas Pinckney, is buried in Philadelphia. Eliza Lamb Pinckney, the first wife, is also buried over here by her husband, her previous husband. So kind of keep that in mind as well. So again, we'll be looking for the maiden name when I'm spot checking the recording to see if I can get which Eliza he's talking about, because it's probably Charles telling us clues about which wife is actually there.
It was a woman's voice.
Yeah, well, even still,
Yeah.
it could have been radio stations, but you hearing the name Eliza is not common for a radio, so it's probably disembodied for sure. So we're going to see which one it was. We'll find out. I haven't spoken to either one of them personally, so I don't know what their voices sound like. So hopefully you're close enough to the thermal imaging camera where we cut it on there too.
I don't know.
Again, you'd be surprised how much audio these cameras pick up. Back to the doctor's fiance. So Amanda, again, she has an attorney helping her out with all of her inheritance, the money that she just got from her parents, and the attorney thinks that Dr. Ladd is just after Amanda's money. So he tells Amanda to get rid of the doctor. So Dr. Ladd moves down here to Charleston to prove that he's not after her money. So somebody was walking by, well, he comes down here, but there's a coachman that brought him into town, and he set him up to be robbed and killed. So a local was watching what was about to happen because he knew the coachman, and he knew that the doctor was being set up to be robbed and killed. So this gentleman's name was Ralph Isaacs. He has the same initials as where the doctor came from, Rhode Island. So RI was showing up on our spirit boxes so much that I bought the Ouija board, so I can get the very specific RI. And we have gotten it, so Olivia, you're definitely going to be looking for the letters RI in here, and we're going to be looking for the secondary clues so we know who it actually belongs to, two different characters. Anyway, Ralph tells the doctor, dude, you don't want to stay here. I know this guy. He's going to try to kill you. Just come with me. You can stay with my friends at 59 Church Street, rent a room, and you'll be safe. 59 shows up here often. Doctor took him up on the offer, and they became friends. The longer the doctor stays here in Charleston, the more money he's making. He's proving his point that he wasn't after Amanda's money to begin with. Amanda gets wind of this. She's coming down so they can get married. Dr. Ladd becomes known as the Whistling Doctor. It's the 1780s. Men whistled back then. So, again, I'm also going to tell you that every haunted city you're ever going to visit has a cliched whistling ghost. We all have one. I'm just going to point it out now. But anyway, back to the doctor. Dr. Ladd and Ralph go see plays together. They can't sit next to each other because the doctor makes more money. He gets better seats. That's just the way the hierarchy of Charleston works. So, they talk about the plays on the way home. They went to go see Richard III one night from Shakespeare. They're arguing over the new actress that was in town. Dr. Ladd thought she was great. Ralph didn't. The argument turns into Ralph insulting the doctor's fiancée, Amanda, back home in Rhode Island, and it gets very ugly. They go their separate ways. Now, I told you Ralph was from here. He obviously had pet rats. But he goes to his friends at the newspaper, and he puts an ad in the paper telling the whole city of Charleston what he thinks of the doctor. Kind of a, you're a disgrace to society kind of mentality. Dr. Ladd saw the newspaper ad, rebutted with, let's go to Dueler's Alley. Somebody's going to die, and I'm pissed off. So they come down, they took their 10 paces, they turned, the doctor pointed his gun in the air, and he shot. He didn't want to kill his friend. He just wanted the courage and bravery to show up to the fight. But Ralph has his one bullet, and he puts it in the kneecap on the doctor. So Dr. Ladd didn't die either, but Ralph proved he's not willing to forgive either. Dr. Ladd's friends picked him up, took him home to 59 Church Street, where he dies 10 days later after refusing medical treatment. You have to remember, he's a doctor, and this is 1786. Gunshot wounds are a lot different in 1786 than they are now. He probably tried to bleed out the lead poisoning himself. So, no matter which version of the story you hear, some say it was a 10 day later, some say it was 4 days later, but his death date remains the same, November 2nd of 1786. So, every tour in town is going to tell you to listen for whistles while you're down here. The cool thing about you guys, we have 3 cameras running and my voice recorder. You don't need to listen. You're going to listen while, when you're going through your media. What I'm also going to tell you is if you're going to try this on your own and go all the way through the alley without a tour guide, because I'm going to tell you why I got kicked out of here, turn on your voice recorders and listen to it later, but remember, every local knows this story. Anybody walking up and down Cumberland Street or Queen Street is going to throw a whistle down the alley. I do it every single night, especially after I got booted out of here. My garage is where we just passed, where that little Scotchman place is. It's right above it. So I have to pass the alley after we're done, so I always throw a whistle. But anyway, here's how I got booted out, because this is the fun part. You guys ready to learn how I got in trouble? Yeah, this is a good one. So, still new at this when this story began. So, this alley didn't always go all the way through. So it was cut off with a wall going this way, halfway between us and Cumberland Street. The reason why is because this is where they kept the livestock for the city of Charleston. So that means the bricks on that side are older than that side. There are sun-dried bricks on the edge of that alley, on the edge of the alley, and those sun-dried bricks are made from slave children. There's a full handprint in one of those bricks, and some fingerprint swipes in others. And I'd always point it out because I used to take people all the way through. November 28th of 2020, I took my entire team down there, and they're all waiting for something to happen. They're all huddled around the one brick, waiting for something. Well, I treat that brick the same way I do a grave. Nothing's going to happen because that's the last place you're going to find that slave kid that made that brick. So I'm trying to shoo them along, but it's also out of respect because it's outside the kitchen window of the beautiful mansion at the end of the alley. I didn't know I was out of bounds, but the new owner of the mansion came out screaming. My daughter thought it was great because Dad's getting yelled at. So we moved on very quickly, just so you know. The next day was Thanksgiving. I don't work Thanksgiving. Some of you already know that I worked in retail management for over 20 years. I don't do Thanksgiving, and it was mainly for Walmart, for those of you that really need to know where I worked prior. Anyway, November 28th, I actually called my partner up and told him what happened. And he says, well, dude, you can't go down all the way. You're only allowed to go down halfway. So he says, you either got to reroute the tour or you just go down halfway. I decided just to reroute my group and come up with something new on the fly. Tickets were much cheaper back then, by the way. So I told my team we're going to reroute this, but I don't believe in the next story because I've never had anything happen there. So we're just going to see what happens. And I'm a vampire guy, not a pirate person. So before we left, somebody heard the name Anne on a spirit box. I didn't tell them who we were going to be investigating. The famous female pirate Anne Bonny. So I went, hot damn, we'll see what happens. We get down there, somebody else here's the number 300. I don't know what it means. I write it down, and I research it the next day for them. We were there November 28th of 2020. Anne Bonny's trial for piracy, November 28th of 1720. We were there on the exact 300-year anniversary of her pirate trial. Yeah, so I went, shit, now I gotta learn about pirates. Again, I'm not a pirate person, but I've read more books trying to debunk pirate lore than anybody that I've ever known in my entire life. So everything we're going to be discussing at our next location came from a minimum of 2 resources. I have a master's in creative writing. Just be thankful that I can piece this together. I want as factual data as I can possibly get to give to you, so that way we know what we're actually working with. So, again, the next location is a hit or miss also. So Pinckney Mansion was pretty active for us. I'm going to just put that out there. We may have missed a lot, which is perfectly fine, but we had a lot to start off with. I'm pretty excited about it. Also, I want you to keep in mind that we did hear the word doctor. These are the terms that I was putting to this location from the Pinckney Mansion. We had doctor and the number 7,000. The number 7 usually shows up twice in this location because it's the doctor's birthday, July 7th. So we usually get double 7s. So she heard 7,000. And again, your spirit boxes are slowed down. What color is a big red barn? Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer. I don't need Rudolph the nosed reindeer. I just need the red, if you guys are getting my point. So again, the message might be inferred in the middle of other terms. Oh, that was weird.
Oh, yeah.
So for somebody that, that's my expertise, is to listen to spirit box work. Well, normally I'm invited to another paranormal team to do work with them. It's usually because of my spirit box work. So again, when I hear something that's weird and odd, I'm like, ooh, what was that? So that was definitely something weird, and I'm going to be listening for it on the thermal. before we leave, I know you guys got really quiet in this location, but this gate, it's the reason why I stop here. Remember that the alley didn't go all the way through this way? In the event that there was a loser to the duel, this was the shortcut to get to the cemetery that I've already previously mentioned. So otherwise, they'd have to take the dead body all the way down the alley and then back down and around to get to the cemetery. So the gate wasn't there, but obviously the archway was. So again, I call it the death gate. So the gate was probably put there in the early 1900s based on the ironwork, but obviously the brickwork is definitely original, so that way they can get to the cemetery. So, you guys ready to learn about crazy pirates? Yeah. All right, for those of you with the video cameras, if you want to keep them running, we're going to be in another popular moving around area, so just be mindful of the tours around you. But you guys are getting it, so you guys are doing really great with like the belly shots and keeping your cameras pretty low. So I appreciate that. Where's the... Are you getting footage, by the way?
You're supposed to have
It's okay. It's all right. She's fine. All right, let's go learn about some crazy pirates, and hopefully we're going to get some more things about Dr. Black.
What did he do?
Does the word expert mean anything?
You're talking about me.
Cameron, you heard financial?
I don't know yet. So I'm going to dive in and see if there were... there's like 15 stories along this corner, so you guys are going to hear weird terms. That's why the word pedal, I don't know what that means yet. But that's definitely a weird thing to hear on the radio. Anybody else hear anything?
I could tell there's expert or expat, and then somebody just said, "Oh." Whoa.
Well, maybe that's because I'm from Ohio. What words do you have going on with yours?
When, what, and parade.
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 Wait a minute, didn't we just pass a pedicab, like a bike taxi?
You're asking me, I don't know. My
Anybody?
eyes closed.
I saw a bike taxi go by as we were exiting the alley, so you guys may have missed it. So that might be the word where the word pedal's coming from.
I
again.
put pedal or pedal, like I didn't know if it was a flower or bike.
Or it could also be like pedaling on the street.
That's true, yeah.
So again, English major. I come up with the extra terms. Anybody else hear anything? What's going on with the Ouija board over there?
Couldn't find anything.
What are the last 5 letters you have on there?
I just reset it.
Oh, so it's a 0.
Yeah.
Got it.
Well, she's done.
J G.
AG.
JG. Yeah, I got nothing on that one. So you had, that's interesting back here because I don't expect a lot of EMF at this location. That's good. So 10, 15. All right, perfect. So welcome to another parking lot, but we're going to be discussing that little tiny building over there. By the way, the 1-star reviews that I get, I have people complaining that I took them to parking lots. I can't have 12 people investigating in a space like an alley. We're all going to be running into each other. You guys get the point of why I'm bringing you to spaces like this, right? Perfect. Got it. So I'll answer for you on some of these things. It's okay. But anyway, we're going to be discussing that little tiny building over there with crosses on it. First off, those are not crosses. Those are earthquake bolts. If you're not from here and you don't know what those are, they're basically turnbuckles. So if we have another earthquake, like what we did in 1886 that I mentioned at the very top of the tour, you can turn the turnbuckles and it tightens the building up so that way it doesn't incur any further damage. It's a great idea, it just doesn't work. So the reason I bring these ones up specifically is because it's part of the reason why we're here. Those are the first set of earthquake bolts that Charleston ever put in. Why? Because that's the oldest government building in South Carolina. It was finished in 1713. This building is a familiar building to Anne Bonny because this was about the time that she was coming to America to start a new life. So I call this a familiar. So for those of you that watch the TV shows and movies, you've seen them use a teddy bear to try to attract a child ghost because it's something familiar to them. This is the exact same principle. We don't have many buildings this old. We do have some, but not many, which is why we're here. Hoping that we're going to find clues about Anne Bonny, and she's here at the same time we are. So let's get into her crazy story. The building took 10 years to build. Does that sound like the government? Small building, 10 years? No, not at all. I told you I'd be in for you. By the way, I had a CIA agent on my tour one night, and man, was I pissing him off with my government jokes. So he was not happy at all. He's like, I want to let you know, I work for the CIA. I'm like, are you kidding me right now? So anyway, back to the building. Our story begins right in the middle of its construction. So I told you it was finished in 1713. Our story begins in 1708. Let's go back to Ireland. You got to follow me on this one. There's a lot of twists. A young lady moves here by the name of Anne Cormack. She comes here with her father and his mistress. The mistress is Anne's mother. Are you guys with me so far? Okay, head nods, good. So the 3 of them are running away from her father's angry wife. How pissed off was she that you had to leave Ireland by boat to come here when there's no such thing as airplanes? Yeah, so if you came here with your lady friend and your wife, treat her right. She's going to kick you out of the country. Anyway, back to Anne. They land in Georgetown. That's between us and Myrtle Beach. Dad bought a plantation. Mom died pretty quickly. That means he's sending young Anne down here to sell things from the plantation to keep things afloat. Hence the familiar building. So, back home in Ireland, Anne was said to be a badass even back then. So at the age of 7, 8, 9 years old, remember this is pirate lore, nothing is ever going to be perfectly exact, they say she killed a servant with a knife to the belly. So I just want to give you the mentality of this young lady as we go through her history. So, fast forward. The building's done in 13. By 1715, pirates are coming through town. Anne is stoked. Why? She's going to fall in love so she can earn her freedom, just like a man. It's a man's world at this point. Now, you got another phrase that came out of it, too. You're getting some cool stuff, I hope. But anyway, so the first guy she falls in love with, I said first because there's a handful, and we're going to go through them all. The first guy is James Bonny. You already see where this one's going because we've already mentioned her pirate name. So, Dad didn't approve. He was a filthy pirate. They run away to Jamaica. They get married. So now Anne Cormack is now Anne Bonny. That's where the pirate name came from. However, James Bonny is not Captain Jack Sparrow like what she was hoping for. This guy turns out to be a privateer. He's a spy for the British. This is not who she wants. He's a coward. So she falls in love again. Guy number 2. This is John Rackham, a.k.a. Calico Jack. This is the guy that they based your Johnny Depp character off of, just so you guys know who we're talking about here. Jack has his own crew and his own ship. Anne wants to be part of the crew. You can't put a girl on a pirate ship. Does anybody know why? Think family friendly, Nick. I see the grins. It's bad luck. It's bad luck. So it's just a question to make sure everybody's paying attention. So he makes a deal with her. If you dress like a guy and look like the crew, you could be part of the crew. But you're going to be a female in my quarters. She's okay with this. Why? Dad used to cross-dress her as a boy back home as an apprentice to hide her from his wife. So she gets it. She's a pirate. Let's go. But she's a female in Jack's quarters. Let's put 2 and 2 together. We're all adults here. She's eventually going to get pregnant. You can't have a pregnant pirate dude on the crew. Somebody's going to figure out that she's a girl. So Jack drops her off before she starts the show in Cuba. Cuba. These are friends of mine. Have the baby, come back later, and we'll figure it out. She goes and has the baby, but returns without a child. We have no idea what happened to this baby, by the way. None of my research has ever found it, and that's a lot of research on this. So, irony is she comes back dressed like a girl. This makes Jack pretty mad. So there's another pirate crew that he captured down below deck, and she's going to go flirting with that pirate crew to make him even more mad, because that's who Anne is, guy number 3. Guy number 3 turns out to be a female, dressed like a guy as part of the pirate crew that Calico Jack captured. So now we have 2 females dressed like males on the same ship. Her name was Mary Reed, and she went by Mark Reed to become a pirate. So, again, that's where the name Mark came from. So
3.6.
3.6, that's odd for back here. I'm going to explain that one in a minute. So anyway, back to Mary and Anne. They became friends, lovers. We're never going to really know for sure, but the British found out where they are. They sent a fleet of ships to come take them out. 1 pirate ship, by the way. The rumor is that Anne and Mary were the only 2 pirates not drunk enough to come up and fight with 1-bullet flintlocks. Obviously, they're not going to take on a whole fleet of ships. They don't know how to use cannon ships. They haven't been pirates for very long. So, they get arrested. As they're being arrested, she looks at her beau, Calico Jack, and she says, "Jack, I'm sorry to see you here, but if you would have fought like a man, you wouldn't have to be hanged like a dog." The word dog shows up here a lot, just so you know. The judge wants to see the 2 men that fought back so valiantly on their own. He's already tried and hung Calico Jack and the drunk pirates that wouldn't fight. Anne and Mary go in front and reveal their gender, hoping to save themselves. He doesn't give a shit that they're female. He's still going to hang them because they're still pirates. "We plead our bellies," was the last thing they shouted out, because you cannot hang a pregnant woman in 1720. It's illegal. So he sends them both back to jail, delays the hanging. Dad is still up here in South Carolina with all of his Irish money. He bails her out. She comes home. She remarries. That's husband number 2, but guy number 4, because we're going to count Mary. We don't really know. She has 4 kids, dies at the age of 84.
Oh, wow.
Yes, very abrupt ending. We don't know much about her after her pirate career. Mary Reed dies a year later in that Jamaican jail from whatever pirates die from in a Jamaican jail. Most books will tell you that it was some kind of fever or something very simple. I'm going to say, let's make it romantic and call it scurvy. Why the hell not? It's pirates. So, there's only 2 things I left out of here on purpose, out of the entire story. We all know how to romantic. Syphilis is Blackbeard. So, that was his bag, not Mary's. But anyway, the 2 questions I left out are the name of Anne Bonny's parents. So I left those out purposely so you had something to work with. And the name of Calico Jack's ship. You can also ask the city of where Anne Bonny actually lived in Ireland. That will come up from time to time. And her hair color, which is red. So I'm just going to give that one to you. This is not the prominent English woman that we were working with Eliza Pinckney. Which, by the way, when you heard the name, I think I explained that already, that Charles is right across the street. So I'm going to be looking for those other clues. But again, keep in mind, we may get things relative to the doctor. We also have John Calhoun, your 7th vice president, is buried right on the other side of this wall as well. So sometimes in the month of March, we're obviously past March, but he will come about when the month of March comes, is here, because he was born and died in the month of March.
I just heard 1,000.
1,000. I'll write it down just in case something else pops up. Like somebody else hears a specific number, like 715 or
It's like 1,000.
So if you have like the 1,000 and we get like
Just
a
1,000.
yeah, but if they get something else, that would be the year.
Yeah.
So if somebody hears like 713, we have the year of the powder magazine being completed. So 1,713. Again, kind of a vague stretch, but that's how this goes. EMF detection. Don't get excited on the front half of this space, because we have 2 electrical poles and parking meters on the other side. So that 3.6 that you got back here, I'm excited about that. Okay, good. So again, I don't normally get spikes at all in this location. We will get little granules like that. So we're going to see what happens with this. So Nick, definitely play with yours and see what we get. Keep mindful of the other tours passing through, because they do like to cut through this lot. But we're going to spread out, and I'm going to be bouncing around with you guys. So let's do this. Okay. Let's see what you guys can get. So you had like a 10 to 15 come out of that already. Any other words show up that I need to know about?
Let's see here.
Ill.
Friend and jacket.
Fredo.
Oh,
Friend and jacket.
Friend and jacket.
Jacket is relevant.
Okay. Trail, reserve key, gray, black.
King too?
There's a lot of activity right there. Let's walk over to the building.
Yeah. Let's do it.
No, I really haven't. Okay, that's good. No. Got it.
A couple of dark pools in front of the building.
Good.
Isn't that something? It's like a black hole.
Could be a oil spill. Let's go over there. Let's stand in the light. I just heard without me. Man.
I'm not gonna lie, that wicked heartburn. Yeah. It was just the bad stuff. It was ambitious for me.
Honestly, the potato chips did well.
Yeah, we have
I didn't.
sorry.
That was really like awesome.
What do you got coming out of yours?
Over there, a voice said without me. Sounded like a young man.
Okay. It's weird because the word list is actually giving us a lot of clues to Calico Jack. So, yeah, so I'll explain those like once we regroup. So, but yeah, you're actually doing really well with that. Some people really struggle with that specific spirit box because it doesn't give them as much, and when it does, it's like very sporadic. So it can be.
Well, there's a lot of activity, but you can't hear it. Like,
Right.
it's not distinct, so it's kind of...
Yeah, but you've given me more out of that guy than I've had somebody give me in a long time.
Oh, thank you.
So, like I said, you're doing well.
Good.
And I'm not just patting you on the back. I would tell you, like, hey, you suck at this. Like, I'm
That's
that guy.
right.
Like, I'm okay with that.
They're talking to you right now.
Yeah, I know, they might be. But yeah, with spirit boxes, it's not easy. And again, it's one of the first things I do when I'm going through your data. First cup of coffee, I'm going through that lengthy recording so I can, kind of get that one out of the way.
So ignore what we were discussing about potato chips earlier.
Yeah.
Well,
we realized, we were
I don't listen to the audio on these. So that's your guys' private conversation. Everybody else is going to hear it.
But you hear this?
So I won't listen to that. That's really for everybody else. So unless you have something that was very specific, I will tell you in this location, one of the first ones we ever used that, I'm packing things up. This used to be my last stop. And I took that from the gentleman and it said pirate, like not part of a sentence, like the Pittsburgh Pirates won the game. Like it was definitely just I'm a pirate. Very distinctive. We all heard it, and it was caught on the thermal. So we had the audio from that, so I had to take it, carve it out for them, so they had just the audio, like very specific. So again, all of the other things you're giving me, I don't know what 1,000 means yet, but again, you're giving me definitely relative terms, which is good.
Okay.
So, are you hearing any of that?
Oh, all of it. That's why I'm on her like this. Like, wow, let me look and see what we can see.
Who's around here? What do you got?
Who's around here? What can I find? I feel like I'm
There she is.
This is
painting
tailor
with
made
this.
for us.
I feel like I'm doing a painting with this.
These two people celebrate their birthdays in cemeteries and ashrams. Like, trust us. It was like nothing.
You're preaching to the choir.
Number one. Wasn't that a thing?
I got 1,000.
What's that?
I said I got 1,000 before. So.
Yeah. Right. I had number one. It specifically said number one.
heard rain.
Oh.
This is the most activity I've had. But the alley was pretty good.
Yeah, the alley was fun.
Stuff.
Lots of studying, and this again.
Also, I heard the word.
There's a lot to learn. I did find awesome.
I don't know.
All right, got it. Any other words?
Check for infection.
Yeah, and that's okay. That's what you're looking for. So let's rein it in. We got a lot going on with Calico Jack, I think.
Oh, actually, I just heard rain.
Rain? Somebody else heard rain.
Oh, and I heard number 1 earlier.
Number one. Yeah,
Like
number
the
one earlier.
word number and then the.
Yeah. All right, let's go over to the wall.
Throwing out the wall.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It was a lot came through real quick over there, so I'll just share the couple of words.
Okay, what do you got?
Streets, hard day's work, doctor, threatening, and 753.
753 and doctor are obviously relevant to where we just were. So I told you we get bleed over. The word street would only be relevant if there was another word that comes about, and that word is church, because we're on Church Street, and that is the exact address where the doctor lived. He lived on Church Street. I'll be writing those down once I go through the district. So kind of hang on to those for me.
Yeah. 82.
82. Oh, that's actually the year that Anne Bonny died, 1782. She was 84, and she was born in 1698. So, look at you, getting stuff.
Cameron and I heard it got kind of muffly at the end of it, but we heard 280, and then it was either 5 or 7, and then we heard maintenance, 95, and number.
Somebody else heard number 1 too, so it's number 1 as well. That's what I should be saying instead of number 1 too. Nothing super relevant or sticking out to me on that one, but kudos to you for using your phones.
Yes.
So we actually had some EMF in this location, which is odd for the space. So Sandy actually had up to like a 10 to 15. It came out of hers, and you also got a 16 in the front half of this, which is even high for what I would expect out of the parking meters and the electrical pole. I would only expect like a 7, 9, maybe a 10, not a 16. So again, that's pretty high for this space. Let's go through the answers, and it will make sense, and I'll explain like who got what when these things actually pop about. So I will tell you that this is one of the few pictures of Anne Bonny you can find with where she has a shirt on. The reason why is because she used to bare her breast to show men that they were just killed by a woman. So again, I get a lot of teenage boys on this tour, and I don't need angry moms leaving. So, but again, I like to show you at least what she looked like, and of course in her major pirate form. So she is, always played as the voluptuous vixen type character in your movies and TV shows and video games. The names of her parents, nobody got it. William and Mary. Weird thing is it normally comes up as one phrase. So one person will come up to me and say, were their names William and Mary? Because I just heard it come out of a radio station or whatever they heard it from. So William Cormack, Mary Brennan. Mary Brennan was a servant for the Cormack family. That's a whole other scandal that we're not going to get into. But again, we will get the names when they come up as a whole, just like that one-on-one. And no, that was not another subliminal trick, because we did have another Mary in the story. So Calico Jack, what did you get?
Indecent.
Imagine that. Everybody wants to see what they base Johnny Depp off of. So, this is Calico Jack. A couple of things about Calico Jack. We actually did get the name John several times out of one person. So, Calico Jack's real name was John Rackham. We did get the word jacket. So, here's why that's actually relevant. Calico Jack was named that from his crew because of the jackets that he wore. They came from British captains that he killed. So his father was a tailor, which means textiles were very important to him. Calico Jack basically translates to fancy jacket. We did get the word jacket on the word list. Lucky for Oliver, he also has the second part of this. So the name of Calico Jack's ship was called the Kingston. I don't expect Kingston to come through any of your spirit boxes except for Lois's. Reason why, she's getting more disembodied voices than everybody else. The rest of you, I would expect the word king, which we actually got on the word list, relatively close to the word jacket. So I'm actually really excited. This is me excited, by the way. What do you got?
You guys got awards, hanging Zoe. But hanging
Well, hot damn.
Strategic.
So
Hanging, that's
hanging is definitely a piratey term. So
Gil said and yields also and friend and preserve.
I'm also excited. How is Zoe spelled, by the way?
Z-O-E-Y.
It's got the Y at the end. So there is a story of a Zoe Saint Amand at Poogan's Porch. She's the one who haunts that restaurant that's on Queen Street. So the weird thing about Zoe is that we will get clues from her relevant in the French Quarter area because it's relatively close. We're actually going to be really close to it when we go to our next stop. Again, I'll be looking for other things, but she spelled it with a Z-O-E, no Y. So, and we will get that correct spelling on your word list from time to time. Now, our next location, we're doing something a little bit different than spreading about. We're going to Washington Park. So where are my spirit box people? So I'm trying to think of who I actually get spirit boxes today. So we're going to be doing the Estes method at the next location. Is anybody familiar with what this is? Well, okay, perfect. So this is going to make it even more fun. So what we're going to do is we're going to take two people that have spirit boxes with earbuds in them, and we're going to blindfold them. And we're going to put noise-canceling headphones over top of their ears. And they're not going to know the history of the location because I'm going to tell everybody else but them. And then we're going to go back and we're going to blindfold them in noise-cancel headphones. And we're going to talk to the person or persons as if they're the ghost that we're trying to investigate and hopefully get answers. So it's a complete blind. And with two people, it's even more fun because sometimes when that happens, it's normally two people talking to each other. Like we get a conversation out of them even though I'm going to be the one asking questions. So it's a very interesting experiment, but it can either go really well or really bad. So again, it's just the way it goes in that location, depending on how many other tours in there. We're going to go in there looking for a very shy, introverted writer. That's all I'm going to tell you, the whole group as a whole, until I get you guys over into that space. So a lot of people have been coming to this tour lately because they want to try that Estes method. So again, this is something new. We've been doing this for about 5 or 6 weeks now. Sometimes it works out really great, sometimes it doesn't. It's very creepy to watch though. So, are you guys ready to go learn about a creepy author?
Yeah.
And Elena's like, yeah, I know you're going to volunteer me. So I'm the one with the earbuds, so, all right.
Probably not on the road now.
guess I'm just gonna turn it off for now.
Oh, yeah, maybe once we leave here, we need to turn this on. What was that?
I think it's because they
Did you turn on it? God, it's
Holly or Cameron, which one of you wants to jump in?
Holly does. Holly does.
Jump in on this? All right,
it's fine.
have a seat. So, yeah, I'm going to cover your list once we get you out of this. All right, so this is going to be a sensory deprivation, so I'm going to basically give them their blindfold so they can get them open, and they are disposables. I don't want your eye boogers back, so you get to keep them. So again, you guys get it, I don't like people's germs. You guys are picking up on that, right? So earwax and eye boogers. So when each of you guys, when you guys open these up, you're going to notice that they open up with the two eye covers. And then in the center, because it's 2-ply, you pull up in the center and tear it, so it'll be a loop over your ears. It doesn't go all the way around your head. I'm also going to leave the noise canceling headphones with you guys, so you can use them.
Remind me of the Lois Church prayer.
Until we come back. So we're only gone for 5
Lois
minutes.
Church prayer.
Oh, sure. We get back. I don't want you guys knowing the history of the space and who we're actually looking for. So there's noise canceling headphones for you and noise set for you. So in a nutshell, are you guys understanding why we're doing it this way? So this way they have no idea what the hell's going on and who we're looking for. They're not going to know any names. They're not going to know anything. And I'll be honest, this is the new space for me this year, so I don't know everything about this space. That's why we're only going to be over there for a few minutes. When we come back, we're going to huddle around them pretty close, because it doesn't always always look good when I'm blindfolding my guests in the middle of a park in the middle of the night. So we're going to huddle pretty close, and we will get it on film. But a lot of tours like to come through here, and of course people like to come here just to relax. So we're just going to stay out of their way. We will probably put you on mute, Miss Lois, once we're doing
I'm just
this
thinking, yeah. I just got prayer.
Oh, well, we're next to St. Michael's.
I
Whenever we're
figured.
near these major churches, we get a lot of religious terms.
Yeah.
Somebody else heard that term Christianity when we were over by St. Philip's. With the readings on Eurosherry, so after we're done here, I'm going to send you on a little, like basically a walk through all the grass. We have gotten triple-digit readings in here. Wow. So the highest we've ever had has been 167.
Okay.
So again, we get them from time to time. We did have a 130 just a few nights ago, so I'm going to say it was Friday.
Okay.
So again, it's different every single time we find it, and sometimes we don't find it at all.
Okay.
So it's weird. All right, let's go learn some real history about this space, and we're not going to talk about the same things that every other ghost tour talks about in here, because they all talk about Captain Beauregard back there. We're going to go talk about a writer, because I'm a writer, and it makes more sense to me. All right, you guys converse. We'll be back in 5.
I can't wait to take you down to the very tip of the battery. You feel like you're a part of France. It looks like it's gorgeous.
It's story time.
Okay.
So, first time I came here, I had no idea what we were going to find, guys. Look around. There's a million monuments, right? So, the first thing, I had a group of 2. Here's what happened. The young lady using the spirit box heard the exact year of 1828. I'm like, okay, I wrote it down. Somebody else heard the name Henry, and I had the word Tim, because I was using Oliver's device. So, behind me sits Henry Timrod, born in 1828. So again, Henry, Tim, 1828, all showed up. So I said, boom, there's my ghost. Here's his quick story. He was obviously born in 1828, and he wanted to go fight in the war, Civil War, for the Confederates. He's old enough, so we're talking like 1860, 1861, roughly. So this guy was sick through most of his life. So when he goes out to the battlefield, his comrades tell him, go home, dude. You're too sick to fight, but we want you to be the voice of the war. Go tell people what's going on out here. So he came home, started writing poetry about what was going on in the battlefield. Pretty good stuff, actually. A few years later, he has a son. They're not going to know the name of the son, but you're going to know the details about him. I'm not going to tell them anything. The son's name was Willie. He was born on Christmas Eve, and he died 9 months later, October 23rd. So, very sad and very tragic. However, Henry is still mourning. A few years go by. His college buddy calls him up and says, come out to my cottage. You can actually finish what you're supposed to be writing for your newspaper, because he hasn't been writing much, and get some peace and quiet, and leave Katie, your wife, behind to mourn with her parents. So he went out to Columbia, and that's where he wrote his last words. His last words were, beholder of brief mortality, meaning person of short life. And then he coughs, and it lands on the page in a blood stain. He had tuberculosis. The blood stain looks like a man writing over his desk, and that's where he died. So, we call this the Blood Book. They show it 1 day a year on Halloween at the Charleston Library Society. However, you have to be a member of that society to be able to go see the book live. But the internet is beautiful. I'm going to show you the page, and then we're going to go talk to Henry, and hopefully he's going to give us some damn answers. So, let me show you what the Blood Book looks like. And it's just as interesting to me to tell the story with the beholder of brief mortality, where you can see the actual words on the page.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, exactly. So it is still there, and they still show it 1 day a year on Halloween. Kind of a creepy thought. Good way to end the night, right? So, here's your book.
Good warm covers after this.
Yes. I was thinking about that actually.
Pick up the tree. Yeah. First, if you're recording it, I'll freeze it, and I'll get a screen out of it and see if I can brighten it up to make sure it's not the tree. We have gotten full figures here before. So, part of the reason why I actually have the camera that Emma's using is because somebody brought the big chunky one on my tour one night, and we actually had an 8-minute interaction with Henry right inside this gate next to his bust. When I say 8-minute interaction, Henry, if it's okay for me to read some of your poetry, raise your right hand. Went right up and came down. Like, no shit. So, 8-minute interaction ended with the only female on my tour going to the side of this gate and outstretching her hand, asking Henry to shake it, and he disappeared, and we never got him back. You have to remember the times that he came from. It's the mid-1800s, where it was probably disrespectful for a woman to outstretch her hand and ask for it to be shaken that way. So again, you have to know your ghost. So again, he's a very shy, introverted man, and he's very short and has a very distinctive mustache. For those of you old enough to remember Raleigh Fingers, think of his mustache. That's basically what Henry Timrod had. So it was very distinct. So, you guys ready to go blindfold these folks and see what the hell happens? You're like, yeah, let's do this. All right, let's head over here. Alright guys, we gotta huddle up over here and make it in nice and tight. Again, we're gonna be huddling around you so that way you guys feel safe and nobody can see what the hell we're doing out here. I don't want the other tourists stealing my ideas. By the way, remember, I kind of already told Oliver the story, but remember I told you guys at the beginning that I had a story for Oliver at the Powder Magazine? I forgot to tell you guys. So in a nutshell, somebody heard the name Oliver one night when we were at the Powder Magazine. And sometimes when a name pops up that's very distinctive like that, I write it down and see if there's something else that pops up around it. Because normally, if we get a prediction, it'll be the person's name and where you guys are from. So, yeah, it happens all the time. The interesting thing about Oliver is it was heard at the Powder Magazine. His last name is Reed. So is Mary's. Mary Reed. So, not to mention, the next day is when Oliver booked his tour for tonight.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And the last name's Reed. They're spelled differently.
Spelled differently. So.
Yeah.
Wait, your
But
last name
again,
is
the phonetic
Reed?
sound is the same.
Reed.
That's crazy.
Isn't it not? But isn't this why you guys came to see me? You want some crazy shit to happen?
So you didn't get a Lois Potrads anywhere, huh?
What's that? So, a couple of tips for you guys. When you guys go through this, you're not going to be touching your spirit box. I want to make sure you guys aren't messing with the volume so you can hear us. And again, when we put you under, and I call it that, I'm only going to keep you under for 10 minutes. Reason why? This can be very disorienting. So don't get up when you come out. So when we tap you on the knee, so one of your family members will tap you on the knee. I'm not going to touch, female strangers. No offense. Happily married man. I want to keep it that way. But anyway, somebody will tap you on the knee. That means you're going to take off your noise canceling headphones. You're going to do all the work. We're not going to do it for you. Also, you don't need to shout. Some people get under, and because you can't hear yourself, you want to be loud. So we're all going to be very quiet.
Loud.
Yeah, just whisper or think like you're talking normal. Repeat everything that you hear. You don't know what you're listening for. We also may be asking yes/no questions. It's okay to tell me yes/nos in this kind of instance because you don't know what the hell we're asking, if that makes sense. So again, I'm looking for a direct answer from the person we're going to be looking for, which you don't even know the name of. So, you have a question?
I do. I'm trying to process the question. So I'm not going to be able to hear you. How will I know you're asking me a question?
You're both going to be acting as if the ghost that we are looking
my eyes
for.
are closed too, so I won't even be able to see you.
Correct. You won't be able to read lips.
Yeah, right.
That's the whole point of this.
Yeah.
We want to soften.
So I just speak
you're
when
just
I hear
saying what you
something.
hear?
Oh, gotcha.
You're literally just going to repeat everything you hear.
It's a good channel.
So if it is
Gotcha.
a yes or no,
Yeah.
Yeah.
just say it.
Eric, interesting kid popped up.
Got name Terry on there too. That's interesting. Oh, you're taking words out. Don't hit the red X's.
Oh.
All right. So, how this is going to work? Can I have a family member come and take their spirit boxes and just hold them so you can control the volume?
Okay. I need
They're
to
gonna. You
put
guys
it
are gonna
up
give.
first.
Well, that's what they're gonna do. They're gonna control the volume for you.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So this is blindfold first.
I need it louder.
She's gonna control it for you.
Okay.
You're gonna give us the thumbs up or thumbs down.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
How would I do
No,
the volume?
blindfold
Volume?
first.
This one?
There you go. Oh, you can do it that way. Then your noise canceling headphones.
Is it the rolly thing on this one?
Wait, what goes first? The ear pods and...
No, the blind actually goes first. You went opposite.
The rolly thing. Yes.
Yeah, I definitely
It goes over my ear, sweetheart.
Yeah, they're tight and new.
Yeah.
I feel like I might like the AirPods under like she did.
AirPods. Those are 25-cent earbuds.
Oh, whatever.
Just call out AirPods.
I can still hear you.
Crank that thing up. Which direction? You want to go towards that way. Just roll it. That's what she says.
Oh,
See?
oh.
Just like that. Turn down the hair.
Just a little bit up is fine.
She's got it. She got it. All right. Go ahead and set that spirit box down next to her. You don't have to stand so close now. Those of you with video cameras, obviously I want you guys getting footage. The two cameras that know that they're not supposed to be facing each other, don't face each other.
Can you turn up a little bit?
We're allowed to get footage? They say? Oh, okay.
That's good.
Is she good?
She's going to shout, by the way, 100%.
Holler.
Yep.
She said holler.
No.
Wow, you're in there quick.
1840.
Plaza.
Slow.
Okay, Henry.
It's on the
That
table.
are there.
Henry, you need to slow down. I want you to give us something very specific. We're going to get right
6.
into it. I want you to tell me the name of your son, please.
We may not be able to see.
We want to know the name of your son, please.
Nothing.
Your son, what was his name?
Smile.
Talk. My time.
Notice how they're going back and forth, guys? This is normally how it works.
But
Henry.
that's not all.
Henry, tell us something about your son.
Sexual.
Give us his name.
I need a little thunder.
Give us his... You don't need to hold that. You can set it down.
Found an expert.
Fall.
9 to 5.
I will.
Mom or dad.
See how they're...
Legitimate.
Henry, slow down a little.
Year.
What year? What year? Something specific about your son, please.
Jesus.
Kids.
Okay, we're on the right track. Give us something specific about what your son's name was.
Abortion.
It was not an abortion.
One night. Wild.
Did your wife have an abortion?
Bonus.
Give me a yes/no answer, please. Did your wife, Katie, have an abortion?
Relieved. Lace.
Wild.
6.
Someone. Driver.
Tell me.
Henry, thank you for slowing down.
Twice.
I want you to tell me what your wife's name was.
Comes up. Dress. Deeper.
Charles Virgin said it this way. Sense.
Your wife's
Lee?
name. We're asking you a lot of questions here.
Did you know
Ugly.
your country was proud?
Oh, yes,
How?
I did actually.
And they need to grow.
Gift.
They help us.
What war did you fight in, Henry?
Review.
What war was it?
And then they were shooting.
What war was this, Henry? Tell us about the war.
Hopeful. Warranty. Pray for people. Reliability.
Henry, give us the war
Back.
you were in. Even the year that you went to the battlefield.
Rheumatoid arthritis. Feel.
With a kid on the way. Brake
Loss.
fluid improve. Plus you'll get
Henry Timrod. Make it simple. Tell us what you did for a living.
50% on term life insurance.
Stood over.
What did you do for a living, Henry?
My whole body.
The owner of CNT.
Spring
Premium.
fashion.
You got a lot of diseases
Other?
coming out here, Henry. Why don't you pick the one that you actually died from, please? What did you die from?
And those.
Coat.
Where's the Ouija board? Olivia, look for the initials TB if it comes up.
TB.
Yeah, for tuberculosis. What did you die from, Henry?
Experiment.
Got about 5 minutes in, just so everybody knows where we're at.
I'm gonna be there with
Kind
them.
of.
Henry Timrod, what did you die from, please? We're asking a lot of questions tonight.
Heart.
Temple.
Henry Tamrod, how did you die?
Crisis.
Angry.
Yeah, I'm sure you were angry.
Early. Secure.
It was early. How old were you when you died? I was 38, by the way, so in case anybody knows. How old were you when you died?
Sorry. General growth.
And we're about halfway through this. I want you to pick one of those questions. They're very specific. Things about your
Live so
child,
free.
your son, your wife, the war you fought in, and your death. We asked you a lot of questions.
Treatment.
Listen, I can't be.
Can't be listening. Henry, we need some answers.
What have you found?
I found a lot.
IKEA.
You give us a lot of terms doing this. Come on, Henry.
If you want to be my lover.
Soldier.
Soldier's good. What war were you a soldier in? Can you give us a year?
All the one and all of the me. Some of those specials.
Ended. Two sides.
At the VA.
Position.
Two sides, position. We're talking about the Civil War.
Plus.
What else do we have here, Henry? Give us something specific, please.
Role.
This is all very vague.
Summer.
What war did you fight in?
Doctor.
Wonderful.
Henry, we got about 2 minutes left. Make it count. You haven't given us anything specific enough yet.
Who's there?
I'm right here, Henry.
Number 1 for new country.
She.
Home, your life.
Why don't you tell us who lost the war?
University.
Who lost the Civil War that you fought in?
Come back.
Yes.
Who lost the war? Which side?
You are my only. I think I fixed it.
Stalking.
Henry?
You don't see.
We're about to call this, Henry. Give us something specific before we close it out.
7.
Lose.
Vitamins.
Who lost the war, Henry?
Real life.
Was it the North?
Stop
or was it the South?
believe.
Night.
Was it the South that lost the war?
I've been.
All right, family members, let's tap them out. Any readings from the EMF detectors? No. Nothing? Sherry, anything on your end?
Minor.
In the blue behind.
Point things.
Okay.
I'm alive.
So I'm going to call this unsuccessful.
I said a lot. It was
You
cool.
did. It was, but when I say unsuccessful, it's not that they weren't hearing things. It's, I mean, I think we had some very vague things. I started asking about the war. We had the word soldier. We had two sides. No specific answers to my direct questions, though. I've had direct answers of, hey, Henry, how did you die? And somebody said tuberculosis. That's what I'm looking for, guys. So that's the thing. You said rheumatoid arthritis and chuckled,
Yeah.
but
Oh yeah.
but again, it's the silliest things that you may hear that you're not sure of. So what I'm going to have you guys do is I'm going to have you guys just take a quick lap while I give the two ladies the actual history so they know what they were working with, and then we're going to wrap this party up. So just basically do a lap. So Sherry, you're probably the most important right now because again, you're the one that's going to be having the hotspots. If you get a hotspot, you don't need to stay there. Just get a few readings for me. We can bring them back because that is going to give you guys points for your score tomorrow. I want to see what we get out of it. Again, it could happen. It could not. All right, everybody scatter, and then we're going to wrap this up. All right, ladies, so in a nutshell, we're looking for...
Beautiful courtyard.
Yeah.
Beauregard.
So let's see if I get any activity right. This is the least amount of activity I've had.
I wonder, if I was this person in spirit form.
I don't think I'd like to be called up to do this stuff.
No,
Oh,
I think
that song.
I think I'd get irritated night
I would.
after night
I'd
after
feed
night.
them like song titles like they did.
Yeah, exactly. I'd be kind of really miffed, irritated.
You have the church.
What kind of music is that?
Sounds like organ music from a church.
Yeah.
Interesting that it was just like right there, a lot of it.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I was just... Cause I've had fairly consistent activity all night until... in here, nothing.
Yeah.
Until just now. Yeah.